as he ate specially designed packets of shredded pork with garlic, Kung Pao chicken with treasure rice, and sipped Chinese herbal tea. Yang Liwei reflected on the events that brought him to this point, far above the Earth. The launch had gone well. He was launched into space aboard his Shenzhou 5 spacecraft atop a Long March 2F rocket from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in the Gobi Desert. And after a bumpy, uncomfortable ride, he was in orbit. The rocket had 2 stages. The first stage had a lot of vibration, probably due to the air and changing temperatures, or a rocket booster malfunctioning. The second stage had gone well also, but there were still vibrations and he was stressed out, thinking he might die before he made it to space. Inside the Shenzhou capsule, things seemed to vibrate back and forth, and at one point, he thought he was hallucinating as he saw an apparition float by inside the capsule. It looked like a person, but was completely black. It was only a brief second, but the image stayed with him. As he reached orbit and the booster rockets released, Yang Liwei breathed a sigh of relief. He was alive. He had reached his destination. Space. He was the first Chinese citizen in space. The first Chinese astronaut in space aboard a Chinese spaceship. Chinese state-run media would go on to show him waving a small flag of the People's Republic of China as well as the United Nations flag on television. He would be famous and his family would be fine. With his family in his mind, he briefly spoke to his wife over the radio. "I'm fine," he told her, "don't worry," and with that, the radio had been silent for the next hour. As he sipped on his herbal tea, he heard the strangest sound. It sounded like someone knocked, just like you would knock to let someone into your house. Except he wasn't in his house, he was in space. In a tiny space capsule thousands of kilometers above Earth. And space was a vacuum. There was no sound and nothing could survive there. He figured it had some kind of mechanical source, like a loose fitting or a gas tank, rattling, but it had sounded like a knocking. He told himself to forget about the weird noises. With that, he had taken a nap. At first it was hard to get to sleep, but soon he was unconscious. He awoke to the sound of the knocking. This time, louder and more intense. It seemed to have an intelligence, like someone was desperate to get inside the capsule. Yang Liwei looked out of the porthole. Out of the side of the capsule, there was nothing but pitch black and beautiful stars, which were brighter than he had ever seen. The knock came again. He could not tell whether it was coming from the outside or the inside of the capsule. It almost sounded like someone was banging a wooden hammer hitting what sounded like a metal bucket. Probably some part of the space capsule, but who and where were they? He remembered the Americans had reported hearing some noises like whistling when they had gone to the moon, but it was nothing like this. This sounded like an intelligent knock. Yang Liwei did not report the strange knocking. He thought ground control would think he was crazy. After landing back on Earth, Yang Liwei reported his misfortunes in space, and even tried to recreate the exact sound he heard. He had hit metal with various instruments but never achieved the desired result, and failed to reproduce the same knocking sound. He also claims to have never heard such a sound in the years since his mission. On subsequent missions, Shenzhou 6 and Shenzhou 7, astronauts also reported the knocking sounds. For his service to his country, Yang Liwei received the title of Space Hero from Jiang Zemin, the chairman of the Chinese Central Military Commission. He also received a badge of honor during a ceremony at the Great Hall of the People. Russia awarded him the Gagarin Medal, and the Chinese University of Hong Kong gave Yang Liwei an honorary doctorate. The strange knocking sound was never resolved. It has remained a mystery to this day. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more paranormal stories.